Have you ever had people in your life who made you uncomfortable, angry, or uncomfortable with their behavior? It could be a colleague who constantly criticizes, a relative who manipulates, or an acquaintance who sows negativity. Toxic people exist in the lives of all of us. They could be at work, in the family, or among friends. Their actions and words often destroy our peace of mind, distract us from important things, and even worsen our mental health. But the fact is that their influence is only possible if we allow it. In this video, I will talk about Stoic principles that will help you maintain inner peace and be resistant to provocations. You will learn how to deal with toxic people so that they no longer have power over your emotions. So stay with me. It can change your approach to any difficult interactions. We're toxic people. How often in your life do you encounter people who leave you not only in a bad mood, but also with a desire to get away from them as soon as possible? You could be in a room where everything looks normal, but there is this one person who can ruin your entire day. Why? Because their behavior is toxic. They don't necessarily immediately rush at you with words of insult or direct attacks. Sometimes the toxicity is hidden behind friendly smiles and fake gestures. Let's look at it factually, without philosophy and complicated definitions. 1. Manipulation. You'll do anything for me, won't you? The first type of toxic behavior is manipulation. Perhaps you know people who deliberately put you in a situation where you feel guilty, even if you have done nothing. You promised to help me, but now you want to leave me in trouble? This is how they work. Manipulation is often supported by external pressure or shifting responsibility. Well, if you love me, you have to do it. It could be a colleague who constantly asks you to do extra work, promising to thank you later, but never fulfills his or her promises. Or a relative who always finds a reason to impose their problems on you, making you feel like you can't say no. Manipulation works by making you feel bad if you refuse or disagree with what they want you to do. Such people act like real masters of emotional pressure. 2. Devaluation. It's just an accident, nothing special. The second type of toxic behavior is devaluation. Imagine a situation where you have really achieved something important, a successful project, a promotion at work, or success in something that is important to you. And then this person simply says, "It's nothing special. You were just lucky." They ignore your efforts without even thinking about how you achieved the success. Such people have a tendency to belittle the achievements of others in order to elevate themselves. They're always trying to show that their point of view is more important, their achievements are greater, and everything you do is trivial and not worthy of attention. This can be a person who constantly criticizes your work, but never gives you any constructive advice. They just say, "You could have done it better," without explaining why or how. 3. Aggression, direct or covert. Toxic people often resort to aggression, which can be either open or covert. Open aggression looks like direct criticism or even insults, when a person does not hesitate to express their dissatisfaction or lack of education. For example, you may be called stupid or unintelligent, especially if you expressed your opinion or pointed out a mistake made by this person. But there is also covert aggression, for example, when a person simply ignores you, bypasses your initiatives, or makes subtle but extremely hurtful remarks under the guise of a joke. This is the most insidious form of aggression because it leaves you with the feeling that something is wrong, but you can't pinpoint exactly why. You might experience this at work, where your boss or coworker is constantly nagging you for the slightest mistake. Or in your family, when someone is constantly undermining your self-esteem. How to identify toxic behavior. 1. A constant feeling of discomfort. Every time you communicate with this person, you feel exhausted or depressed. 2. You feel that your boundaries are not respected. The person is constantly trying to impose their will or manipulate your emotions. 3. Your self-esteem is suffering. A toxic person may be someone who constantly devalues your efforts or ignores your accomplishments, which makes you doubt yourself. 4. You always think you are to blame. This can be a sign of manipulation when you constantly feel guilty for things you haven't even done. Stoicism offers a profound approach to such situations. Instead of trying to change the toxic person or reacting to their behavior, the Stoics taught that we cannot change others, but we can change our attitude towards them. This is a key message. The Stoics believe that our emotions and reactions are our responsibility. They emphasize the importance of inner freedom. If we allow others to take away our peace of mind, we make the choice to give up that control. Yes, you can't force toxic people to change, but you can change your reaction to their behavior. Stoicism will teach you to stay calm and not to give in to provocations. It's important to remember that they don't determine how you feel. It's your choice how to respond. You can choose not to participate in their games. Instead of reacting aggressively or getting upset, try asking yourself, what of this can I control? Remember that toxic people should not determine your mood or emotional state. Your calmness and inner peace are your responsibility. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot change others, but we can change our attitude towards them. Accordingly, there are some important principles that will help you stay calm even when you are around toxic people. 1. Realize that you cannot be offended without your consent. Resentment is just an emotional reaction to the words or actions of another person, and this reaction depends on how you perceive the situation. The Stoics believe that the outside world, including the behavior of other people, has no direct influence on our inner state unless we allow it. Everyone has the right to their opinion and behavior, but your reaction to it is your choice. When someone tries to offend you, it is important to remember that an insult exists only when you accept it. Toxic people can use different strategies to elicit an emotional response from you, from sarcasm to aggression or manipulation. But only if you allow yourself to be offended do you lose control of the situation. For example, if someone makes an unpleasant remark about your work or personal life, you can choose how to take it. You can take it as criticism that you don't need, or you can ignore it and continue to move in the direction you have chosen. Staying calm in such situations is not a weakness, but a sign of inner strength and self-control. Stoicism taught that we should take responsibility for our own emotions. This allows us to reject the idea that someone else can hurt us or influence our mood. When we realize that each of our emotions is our choice, we are able to remain calm even in the most difficult situations. 2. Focus on what is in your control. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between what we can and cannot control. We can't change another person's behavior, choices, or attitude toward us, but we can change our reactions to these factors. This is the only thing we have influence over. For example, toxic people can use manipulation or aggression to affect your emotional health. But how you react to this is your choice. You can react with an emotional outburst and let it take away your peace of mind, or you can maintain your dignity and stay balanced. Ask yourself the question, what can I change in this situation? If the answer is nothing, then just give yourself permission not to worry about it. Stoicism teaches that focusing on what is in our control is the key to inner peace. We can only control our reactions, our thoughts, and our actions, and external circumstances or other people's behavior should not be our concern. No matter how others behave, you always have the right to choose your reaction. 3. Maintain emotional control. Emotions are an important aspect of our experience and can be used to understand ourselves better. However, we should not let our emotions take over when we encounter toxic people. This is especially important in situations where someone is trying to provoke us or throw us off balance. To maintain emotional control, use simple techniques to help you stop for a moment and channel your emotions in a constructive way. One of the most effective methods is the pause technique. When you feel your emotions are gaining strength, stop for a few seconds. Take a deep breath, focus on your breath, and give yourself time to think. This moment of pause will allow you to stop any impulsive reaction and make a more deliberate decision. Another important tool is an internal monologue. Before responding to a provocation, remember, this is not my problem, this is their problem. Putting the situation in an external context helps to avoid emotional stress. These techniques help to maintain emotional balance and avoid unnecessary conflicts, and allow you to act in accordance with your own principles, not under the influence of momentary emotions. 4. Compassion for others. Stoicism also teaches us the importance of compassion for others. Toxic people often behave in this way because of their own internal problems, stress, insecurity, failure, and a sense of helplessness. This does not justify their behavior, but it helps you understand that their behavior is not yours. Often, toxic people try to project their emotional difficulties onto others, and it has nothing to do with you. Instead of taking their words and actions personally, try to keep your distance and see that it is a result of their own difficulties. Understanding that toxic behavior is often a reflection of internal issues allows you to avoid becoming emotionally involved and stay calm. This doesn't mean you have to put up with toxic people or justify their actions, but it does give you the opportunity to not take their problems on yourself. Compassion helps to reduce feelings of personal resentment and increases your inner peace. 5. Stick to your own values. One of the most important aspects of Stoicism is not letting external circumstances change your internal values. Toxic people may try to manipulate you or force you to violate your principles, but it's important to stay true to your beliefs. For example, if you value honesty, don't respond to toxic people's lies or manipulations by giving in to their influence. Instead of compromising, stay true to your principles, even if others try to push you to change. Your values define your actions and your dignity, and they help you stay calm in difficult situations. When you stick to your principles, you don't let toxic people change the way you feel about yourself and your standards. This helps you to maintain your inner stability and not give in to provocations. All of these principles of Stoicism help us to maintain calm even when we are surrounded by toxic people. They give us the opportunity not only to protect ourselves from negative influences, but also to maintain inner harmony and balance. We can't change the behavior of others, but we can control our reaction. This is a real power. There are some simple but powerful strategies that can help you stay calm and avoid toxic influences. Here are some practical tips you can use to control your attitude and behavior in situations with toxic people. 1. How to set boundaries. Learn to say no and stop toxic interactions. Many of us often have difficulty setting boundaries, especially when it comes to toxic people. They may unceremoniously violate your personal spaces, demand more time or emotional resources than you are willing to give. This can manifest itself in endless requests or aggressive demands that you feel compelled to meet. But should you allow it? Stoicism teaches that we have the right to set our own boundaries and control what affects us. One of the most important skills in this situation is the ability to say no without feeling guilty. Setting boundaries is not an act of aggression, but an act of self-respect and care for your own well-being. How to do it? First, define your boundaries in advance. This can be refusing to participate in toxic discussions, stopping any communication if someone is manipulating you, or simply refusing to do tasks that exhaust you or are not in your best interest. It is important to remember that you do not need to explain your decisions in detail. For example, if someone is constantly imposing their point of view or trying to interfere in personal matters, just say, "I'm not ready to have this conversation right now," or "This is not a matter for discussion." Don't be afraid to set clear boundaries. It shows your self-respect. 2. Ignoring strategy. When it is better not to answer. It is not always necessary to respond to every attack or provocation. Sometimes, in order to stay calm, the best option is to simply ignore the toxic person or their behavior. This doesn't mean running away from the problem or being afraid of conflict, but a way to avoid further emotional losses. Stoicism teaches us that we shouldn't waste emotional energy on people who don't deserve our attention. If a toxic person tries to provoke or manipulate you, do not respond to their words or actions. Ignoring them can be much more powerful than any response. Sometimes silence is the most powerful way to deal with aggression or toxicity. It gives you the opportunity to maintain your emotional balance without being provoked. It's not always easy, but in practice it looks like this. If a toxic person starts criticizing you or tries to interfere in your personal affairs, just stay calm and keep quiet. The more you ignore the negativity, the less likely you will be to be thrown off balance. By not responding to toxic behavior, you demonstrate your independence from it. You don't allow it to affect your inner state. This is an act of strength, not weakness. By applying these practical tips, you can significantly reduce the impact of toxic people on your life. Stoicism teaches us to control our reactions rather than external circumstances. Thus, even in difficult situations, you can maintain calm, confidence, and inner balance. So, we went through some important steps to help you stay calm despite the toxic behavior of others. Throughout this video, we've looked at how Stoicism can help you in difficult situations when it seems that toxic people are trying to destroy your inner balance. Let's summarize the main principles we discussed. 1. Realize that you cannot be offended without your consent. This is the first step to inner freedom. We choose how to react to the words and actions of others. An insult exists only when we accept it. Stoicism teaches that external circumstances cannot disturb our inner peace unless we allow it to happen. 2. Focusing on what is in our control. We cannot change other people, but we can change our attitude towards them. Instead of trying to control the behavior of toxic people, we can control our reactions, thoughts, and emotions. This is our path to peace and dignity. 3. Maintaining emotional control. You can stay calm even when someone is trying to provoke you. It is important to pause before reacting, breathe deeply, and think about whether it is worth wasting energy on conflicts. Every moment we don't let our emotions take over brings us closer to true inner peace. Compassion for others. Toxic people often have their own internal problems, which can manifest themselves through aggression or manipulation. This does not justify their behavior, but understanding that they also have their own difficulties helps us not to take everything personally. Compassion allows you to remain calm and act with wisdom. 5. Adherence to your own values. Your inner principles should remain unshakable, no matter what is happening around you. Don't let toxic people change your behavior or attitude. React in accordance with your values, not because of emotions caused by external factors. Now that we've recapped the basic principles, it's important to understand one truth. Staying calm is a skill that can be developed. It's not something that comes easily or immediately, but with time and practice, you can become more resistant to toxic influences. Toxic people are not an insurmountable obstacle on your path to inner harmony. They are an opportunity for you to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Every interaction with such people is a chance to practice Stoicism and show yourself that you have the power to remain calm, no matter what is happening around you. It may seem very difficult to you, especially in the moment when you feel emotions taking over. But remember, every situation like this is an opportunity for you to develop your inner control. With practice, patience, and wisdom, you can gain a peace of mind that is not dependent on the behavior of other people. So, if you feel that toxic people are trying to throw you off balance again and again, don't be afraid to use these Stoic principles. Stay calm, maintain your inner balance, and don't let anyone take away your power. I would love to know how you deal with toxic people in your life. Do you apply the philosophy of Stoicism in your daily behavior? Write about it in the comments. I'm sure your experience can help others find their own path to peace and wisdom. Don't be afraid to set boundaries, protect yourself, and work on yourself. Stoicism is not just a philosophy, but a real tool for a better life.